World War III. I don't believe it will be fought with weapons. I think it will be technological. China versus America, the biggest AI competition that feels like a Cold War where the prize isn't territory, it's the future of human civilization. 3 days after Trump unveiled America's AI action plan on how he's going to win this race, China responded with their own. Just one problem, they didn't translate it at first. So the future of humanity brought to you by Google Translate. And before you say it, no, I didn't trust AI to translate this document, neither would the State Department, so neither should you. So I got a certified English translation from a language firm whose linguists translated for President Obama. By the way, I'm Veronica Hylak, and this is Hey AI, where we break down the top AI news into plain English, no matter who you are. First, America's AI action plan. The US document is titled Winning the AI Race. It's 28 pages long, and its framing is clear. AI is a strategic competition, the US needs to lead, and China is the primary rival. Here are 4 key points from the plan that you need to know. 1. The US argues that regulation slows innovation, and in a global race, speed matters. The plan calls for removing regulatory barriers to accelerate AI development. 2. Government AI must be ideologically neutral, requiring that AI used in government to be objective and free of top-down ideological bias. This targets frameworks like DEI and racial profiling, positioning them as biases to avoid. The third thing they had was domestic infrastructure push, large-scale investment in data centers, semiconductor manufacturing, and energy infrastructure, even greenlighting nuclear energy, which has been a really controversial topic in the US for many decades. Notably, it leaves climate impact largely unaddressed. And lastly, strategic alliances. They're not open to collaboration. The US plans to promote a model where allies become reliant on American AI systems, software, hardware, and cloud infrastructure bundled together. I did a really big analysis that's much longer. You can find it on my channel if you want all the nitty-gritty details. Now, China's response came just 3 days later. It's much shorter, only 2 pages, but it's equally strategic. Instead of framing AI as a race, China emphasizes cooperation. In the Chinese president's words, if we engage in technological monopolies and restrictions, AI becomes an exclusive game for a few countries and enterprises. China did eventually release an English version, but it's very diplomatic in nature. The certified translation provides way more cultural context and technical precision. Really good for us not working in a diplomatic capacity and actually trying to understand the nuance. Here's the core of what China is proposing. The first is a permanent global AI governance body. China wants to establish an international organization, likely based in Shanghai, to oversee global AI cooperation, which builds on earlier multilateral initiatives that they've pursued, particularly with the Global South. The second, open source everything. 3 is climate integration. China frames AI as a tool for environmental good, pointing to real-world deployments for disaster preparedness in Brazil, Myanmar, and South Africa. They also acknowledge their energy infrastructure is much more advanced than America, putting less strain on resources and more efficient for AI training, which is actually really true. And the last is their focus on people-centered development. China describes its framework as focused on human benefit over national dominance, and the term AI for good appeared repeatedly, echoing language used in the UN and NGO contexts. The approach is long-term, consensus-driven, and framed around relationship building, and this is very consistent with China's broader foreign policy strategies. Now, on paper, China's plan may seem more appealing. It does even to me. But it's really important to note that what countries say in policy documents and what they actually do can be very different things. China talks about global cooperation, but their track record on international agreements show a different story, especially around technology sharing and data governance. It's likely why the US's plan takes a really defensive, competitive approach. So where does all of this leave us? We're seeing the early formation of 2 split AI ecosystems, the US model, performance-based, heavily commercial, rooted in alliances, and the Chinese model, accessibility-focused, multilateral, and open, at least in theory. For developing countries, the decision may not just be about tech quality, but about governance, trust, and long-term autonomy. Do you align with the US and gain early access to cutting-edge systems under tight IP and guaranteed control? Or do you partner with China for potentially freer access with more uncertainty around influence? When you're asking yourself which one you prefer, it's not about which plan is better, it's about what kind of world each one builds. So here's my final question to all of you guys, and I really want to know your answer. Can these 2 visions for AI, which are good in their own ways, coexist? Or are we headed towards a divided landscape where countries must pick a side? Should AI development be treated as a global commons, or a national security asset. Let me know in the comments, and if this analysis helped you see the bigger picture, consider subscribing. I'll be covering how both plans evolve and what that means for all of us.